Okay. Hey everyone, it's Alice here for our June movie night, and we have some exciting things to bring to you this month because our reunion is next month, and I wanted to throw a couple of reunion related things into our movie night today. Actually, it's going to be reunion themed today. So, we are going to unveil our guest instructor. Now, I have had a ton of questions as to who our guest instructor for our reunion is going to be. And I'm like, guys, I will let you know what I know. Oh my gosh, it was a little bit intense, but I am so excited because I had the brilliant idea. I give myself all the credits here. I had the brilliant idea to ask Christina Sorge. Am I saying that right, Christina? Is it Sorge?
Yes.
Okay, Christina
Uh-huh.
Sorge to be our guest instructor. Now, Christina, you may have seen her online. We may have even featured one of her videos during one of our events before because I have been a follower of hers for quite a while now. She is everywhere. She posts super prolifically on YouTube. It's like amazing. I'm seriously, I get the notifications and I'm like, she posts every single day? Does she post a video every single day? Like, that is so impressive. We've had some gals that are doing stuff like that, different challenges with YouTube videos. I'm like, guys, like, I lay it down for you because that is amazing. So Christina is a guest, or she will be our guest instructor teaching not one but two classes for us. She is on YouTube as Christina Sorge, and it's Christina like Khristina and Sorge for the last name. Heather's doing a happy dance. Natalie says, "This is so awesome. I love Christina's videos and creation."
Yay!
Um, so a little bit about Christina. She has been a featured designer. She's been a designer with Click Kits, with Paper House Productions, Wild Whisper Designs, Spiegel Mom Scraps, and many others. If you have heard of the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, then Christina is the creator of that kit club. And like, they have just exploded. Like, when did you okay, so let's bring Christina on. I've got some questions. We're gonna watch one or two of her little videos. We'll see if we fit in one or two, depending on how much chatting that we're doing. But we will watch one or two of her videos today so that you guys can actually see some of her stuff and you will understand why I am so excited. So let's bring you on and say welcome, Christina.
Oh, hi. Hi. I am in the car, so they're crazy. But I am so super, super excited to be here with you guys. And so she totally gave me way too much credit. Um, but yes, I have a YouTube channel and I create a whole lot of stuff. And I cannot wait to share with you guys. It's going to be awesome. So like Alice said, she has asked me to teach two classes. One of them is going to be a really fun mixed media class. And then the second one is going to be an inspiration class. So how do you take things like nature and Pinterest and mood boards and sketches and make those inspire you and work with you in your layouts? So that'll be the second one. And yeah, it's going to be super fun.
I really love the idea of the two different classes because they're really, really different styles. So the one is like, you're getting a little mucky and getting a little playful with that kind of stuff. But I really like that the other one is a little more concept based. So no matter what style of scrapbooking that you are doing, like if you are a paper scrapbooker, digi scrapbooker, you're doing pocket pages, it's not going to matter. Like, it's going to give you ideas to pull different things into your own style of scrapbooking, and that way it's going to kind of work for everybody a little bit. And I really love that the pages kind of give you both, or the classes kind of give you both aspects of that. So Christina, can you tell us a little bit?
Absolutely. And I scrapbook in a million different formats.
I think that's the great
Go ahead.
thing. Yeah, sorry, I know it goes a little funny back and forth. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal scrapbooking story and what led you to where you are now, and like kind of how things have kind of developed for you over the last couple of years? Because yeah, you're putting out all these videos and I'm seeing your name everywhere and I'm like, this is great. We've got somebody that is like exploding onto the scrapbooking scene in such a big way. Like, yeah, it's exciting. So can you tell us a little bit more about your personal story?
Sure. So I have been scrapbooking ever since I was a kid, and it started with like a spiral bound notebook, and I would just write out like everything, stories and where we were going and stuff that we were doing, and would take like scotch tape and put in like receipts and ticket stuff. A friend made me a bracelet, it's in there. And so that's kind of my very first scrapbook. And yes, I do still have it. And so that was where I started. And I was a pre-med major in college. And so while I was doing all of the pre-med classes, I was working in a local scrapbook store and teaching classes there. And so after college, I jumped into the Peace Corps with Teach for America and taught in a middle school classroom for 10 years and went back to nursing school while I was doing that. And during that time had kids and all of that kind of thing. And so scrapbooking kind of went away for a while because there just wasn't room or time. And once I had kids, I knew that I had to be able to record their stories. And so that's kind of what jumped me back into everything. And so now my kids are a little bit older, and I have kind of decided to jump into this whole YouTube and business and social media, and it's just been like a massive whirlwind. Totally crazy. So yeah, that's me.
And so how did you get started kind of breaking out into like not just scrapbooking for yourself, but sharing a little bit more online and then joining design teams and stuff like that? Like what did that process look like for you?
I was kind of doing my own thing for a while, working in my own scrapbooks, trying to find out what my style was going to be and all of those kind of things. And I really liked the pushes I was getting from different challenge websites and some of the ladies that were sharing online. And so I very much wanted to be part of that. Like, I felt like I was getting so much out of the community that I wanted to be able to give back. And so I started applying for design teams. I started a blog, which is where most people started a long time ago, not so much anymore. And got onto some smaller design team, challenge website based, and kind of moved up from there. And then Spiegel Mom Scraps was my very first one, and I credit for like taking a girl who had no idea what she was doing. And she was like, yeah, you can come guest design for us. It'll be great. And that has kind of prompted everything else from there. So she was really the one that kind of mentored me and got me started on a much bigger scale.
I have to say, I love the sequins. I literally have some on my desk right now because they're in my last kit that I have, and I've been having so much fun. So that's really cool that was your kind of foray into the whole guest designer thing. And now you're actually running your own kit club, and I would love for you to tell us more about that. Like, the name alone is hilarious, and I'd love to know like where you came up with that, and then a little bit about the kit club that you're running.
Okay, so this is completely hilarious, but it's totally genuine. That I accidentally started a business because it was not at all my intention. One of my friends, Hannah, who I know you guys all know from online too, she was starting a YouTube series called For the Love of Homemade Kits. And it was a bunch of us YouTubers that were going to put together kits out of our stash and share layouts that we were doing with the YouTube community. And so I did that, and I'm still working with some of those same ladies on the same types of projects. But about a year or so into that, I kept getting comments on YouTube like, you put together amazing kits. I would totally buy that kit. I would totally pay for that. And of it. And then my friend Christy was looking for a kit club and was really, really frustrated because she like none of the kit clubs that were out there were meeting what she wanted or what she needed or her style. And so she sent me a message and said, hey, would you make me a kit? And I was like, what? And so we talked about what her style was and what she was looking for. And I made her a kit and sent it to her. And it was like no big deal. Like I sent a friend a kit and that's where everything started. And she jumped on YouTube and shared her kit. And all of a sudden I was inundated by other friends. I want a kit. Oh, will you make me a kit? Oh, I loved her kit. Can I have a kit for this? Or these are the pictures I'm working on and I can't find anything. Can you make me a kit for that? And I was like, sure, no problem. And so all of a sudden it exploded into this huge business that I never intended to start, which is why we call it the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, because it was totally a secret that I was doing this for my friend. And she completely like blew the secret out of the water and made it into this big old huge business. So it's crazy.
That's totally awesome. You went, from just putting your own kits
so
together.
It was completely accidental.
Doing a couple of them for some friends, and then all of a sudden it kind of exploded. And so is it like a monthly kit, like subscription, and then people sign up for a certain term, or how does your kit club run?
It is completely based on whatever you want for you. So you decide what you want in your kit, what you want your budget to be, how often you want a kit. You basically decide everything. So I have people who get kits every month. I have people who get kits twice a month or quarterly or randomly whenever they see something that they want. I have people who will send me like a collection from their stash that they want to use up, but they don't have embellishments to go with the paper, or they don't have paper to match the embellishments. So they'll send me pictures and I design the rest of the kit that would go with it so that they can use up their stash. I have people who send me pictures and say, these are the photos I want to scrap, or this is the trip that I took. Build me a kit that will work with these pictures. So it's totally flexible, completely unique, designed totally differently for each person. And then we have a Facebook community that you get to be part of only if you are part of the Kit Club. And once a month we hold online scrapbooking parties, which have like 20 to 30 challenges over 2 days, and have list designers and tutorials and exclusive sketches and cut files and all kinds of craziness. And our last scrap party, we have one coming up this weekend. At last month's scrap party, the ladies made 600 layouts in 2 days.
Whoa.
And they're not like crazy basic. They're amazing. Yeah. They're like, it's crazy awesome. Yeah.
That is so fun. So, that sounds like a ton of work. I don't know how you pull that off, custom putting together all of those kits based on so many different needs and so many different budgets and styles, but I give you huge props because that sounds like a ton of work.
It is so super fun. Oh, but it's so fun.
That's awesome. I love it. So I thought that maybe right now we would watch one of your videos. And okay, so just a question, like how often do you post to YouTube? Because I'm thinking I see a new video pop up almost every day. Sometimes more, sometimes like, I swear there's been notifications that
it totally depends.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes there are 2 or 3 in a day. It totally depends on my design team schedule. And so sometimes the schedules overlap. Not every week is exactly the same, but I would say at least, it probably averages out to at least 3 to 4 videos a week. Except there's a couple months out of the year where I do the video a day challenges where I post a video every single day. And so those months, you're going to have a lot more videos, but usually at least 4 a week.
Wow. That is awesome. And I have to say,
Yeah, but that doesn't include my live videos either, because I'm doing live videos in my group.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, do you have a job outside of doing the scrappy stuff that you have to do, like give other time to and stuff, or do you get to spend your time focusing on your scrappy endeavors and your scrapbooking company and your design club or your designer what am I trying to say? Commitments. That's the word. Just wondering for time, because people are like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so you guys can't fall over then when I answer that question. I ideally am moving to a schedule where I'm going to be able to focus on those things full time. Right now, I'm a full-time home health and hospice nurse during the day, and I am finishing up the last 2 classes for my doctorate in nursing. So my daytime thing, which is why I'm with you from my car today, because I'm in between seeing patients. But ideally, I will be moving away from that more towards just the business, because we really didn't anticipate it exploding quite the way that it has. So now I am playing catch up to make that model work.
Okay, that's amazing. So it really is a situation where you need something done, ask a busy person, because that's you're working full
Yes.
time and doing all of these other things. So we're going, woohoo, that's amazing. We're laying it down right now. That's so great. So I thought right now maybe we would watch one of your videos. You put one up this morning, and I had previewed it really quick, and I'm like, yeah, let's do something like super current. And so I thought we would start with your newest one and watch that right now. While I do this, I'm going to put you on to mute. I'll probably put me on mute, and then I will screen share the sound. We'll watch it here in Zoom, and we'll be able to chat. I think during the thing, I don't know if you can watch from a phone and do chatting on the side, but anybody that is on computer can actually watch and keep their chat open. I think I have to keep mine. I can't chat at the same time because I'm doing the presentation. But it's about a 7-minute video, I think, and we will pop back in and chat about the stuff that we see right after. So that is the plan. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Let's go to. Let's see. That's not the one. This is the one. Oh, share computer sound. Oh, it does that every time. There.
Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another project for my June Click Kit, and I am the guest designer over there this month. And so I am playing with one of the sketches that they created for the month. And so there are 2 if you want to check them both out, but this is a particular one that I started with. And so it started there and kind of morphed into its own thing, which is what I love about sketches. It gives you a place to kind of spark an idea, and then you can go anywhere you want with it. And so I went ahead and grabbed this light blue paper, and this is one of the Bella Boulevard papers from the kit. And I'm going to use that as the top portion of my layout. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a bunch of these other pattern papers, and I'm just going to cut out some strips. And so I am going to include the Amy Tangerine acetate as well as a couple of the other Bella Boulevard pattern papers. And I'm going to cut just kind of some wonky stripes because I want to create an element through the middle of my page similar to what was in the sketch, which had kind of that rainbow. So rather than mine having the arc like the rainbow, mine are going to be straight across the middle of the page, except they're all going to be at different angles. And so what I'm going to do is once I have those strips, I'm going to go ahead and start tucking them in underneath, kind of layering them up underneath each other. because I want to create these kind of wonky pattern lines. And so this is a configuration that I use often towards the top or the bottom of a layout. But this time I'm going to play with putting it right through the middle. And another thing I did differently this time is including that little piece of acetate. And I really like the look that that added to the layers. So you can definitely tell that that particular piece is different than the rest, but it just adds a really unique kind of fun look into these layers. So once I have them all layered up together, I am going to put that tropical paper kind of across the top. And that's going to make sort of the foundation for my layout. And so there's where that inspiration from the sketch kind of came from. And so then I'm going to grab this alphabet, and this also came in the kit. This is from Dear Lizzie, and it's just a white glitter alpha. And I knew that one of the words I wanted in my title is the word conquer. And so this is going to go under the photo, just like it did in the sketch. But I didn't necessarily want them to be white glitter because it's going on white cardstock. So I grabbed some shimmers in pink Moscato, and it kind of matches some of the glitter detail in that acetate, and as well as in some of the pattern paper. And I went ahead and just used it to color in my letters. And so you can tell there is definitely a difference between the white and the pink. So I would definitely encourage you to go back to your kit or to this alphabet if you have it even in your stash, and play with some Shimmers products to get them to be different colors, because it really does add a unique look to that particular alphabet, and you still maintain the glitter look. It just makes it a color. And so then I went ahead and grabbed some of my red line tape, which is kind of my go-to if I'm going to do a straight line of sequin work. And I'm going to grab the really awesome sequin mix that came in this kit. And I love this sequin mix because it has all different sizes and shapes and colors. So it's not just one like limited color palette. There's all kinds of different colors and sizes. And so anytime I am putting them in a straight line, I am almost always using this red line tape. So I'm going to go ahead and add those just across in the straight line. And then I went back and added a few that were bouncing off of that line. I like that look because this is a waterfall picture. It kind of adds to that feel of the water spraying everywhere. So there are a few spots that those sequins kind of spray off of the line, and I like how that looks, particularly for this photo. And so then I'm going to go through this tropical ephemera pack that is from Bella Boulevard that also came in the kit. I'm just going to layer up a few pieces in this bottom left-hand corner. And so one of my biggest tips, something that I like to do with ephemera like this, is I tend to want to put a few pieces underneath my photo level, and then have one or two pieces that are on top of the photo. And that creates some really fun dimension with otherwise flat ephemera. So you're going to see me glue part of it down to the layout itself, and then that little pink and yellow flower is going to get glued to the top of the photo. And because I have dimensional foam below my photo, it makes that part really pop up off the page, and I love the look of that. So then I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of pen detailing around the outside edge of this bottom portion, just because I don't want it to feel like it's falling off the bottom of the page. So I want to create kind of a break where you definitely see that this is one complete page element. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab that alphabet that I dyed with my shimmers, and I'm going to just tuck it under the edge of the bottom of my photo. So I'm wanting everything embellishment-wise to kind of stay really tight to the photo. I don't want things kind of wandering away or off at a distance. Everything is going to stay pretty tight to the photo. And so my whole title is going to say, Go, See, Do, Conquer. And so I needed a small alphabet to do the rest. So I just grabbed a navy alpha from my stash. And I'm going to add those words right on top of my photo where that kind of dirt area is on the bottom of the photo. So this particular photo is of my husband and I and our 3 kids, and this is taken when we were in Hawaii. And so one of the things the kids were really looking forward to doing on that particular trip was they really wanted the chance to go ahead and swim in this waterfall. And so this is an area where they have botanical gardens, and you can hike or kind of walk through the botanical gardens, and then at the back you can swim in this waterfall. And so even though the water is absolutely freezing cold, my kids were all super, super excited to go ahead and do this, and even my little guy. And so my mom, who was with us, took this picture of us like all kind of conquering this waterfall. And so I went back to the sequin mix here, and I grabbed just a little tiny flat sequins, and I put one in between each word. And I really like kind of the little detail that that adds and the way it ties it into the sequins up at the top as well. And so then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Pink Moscato shimmers, and I'm just going to add some splatters. And so I don't really like the eyedropper end that comes in the shimmers bottle. And so what I tend to do is I will spray it onto a piece of plastic, and then I will just use a paintbrush to go ahead and do my splatters. And so I'm going to add them all around my photo down here at the bottom. And then I'm actually going to go back off screen and add some to the top above my photo as well. So they're all going to be centered over on that right hand side. And I really like the look that that creates, and it really goes with this feel of the waterfall and water spraying off. And so I would definitely encourage you today to grab your June Click Kit and create some fun layouts. This sketch from Click Kits for this month is a really great place to start. And then I would also challenge you to pull out some of your shimmers and use them to dye that alphabet, because it is really fun to be able to include it in a color that matches your layout. And we'll see you again soon. Bye!
Okay, let's see here. That should pop things back. Okay, we're back. There we go. So I just thought that was pretty wonderful, and um, and I thought that there was so many really fun ideas and ways to kind of play with your supplies in different ways. So like you might not look at those glitter letters and think, darn, I really don't want a white glitter letter on this page, right? Like sometimes that's not the right fit for what you're doing. But, you know, when she just like sprays them up and has now pink glitter letters, that just like totally changed it. And doesn't that make your whole alphabet and your stash just that little bit wider, broader, and a little bit more expansive, so that you have better choices to use too? So I have to ask, has anybody actually done something like that before? I didn't do it with spray. I've done it with actual ink, where I've inked over top and changed the color of glitter letters. So when I saw you do that, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's done that too. But I love that the way the spray worked, because that was super fun to see that. So I thought that was really good. Katrina says, I'm going to have to watch this again. I love the red line tape idea. And on the replay, I will have like the full videos embedded on there so that you can watch them. I know that we're having some sound issues. I think you guys hear that on your side too, where it kind of crackles and pops a little bit when we're doing the screen shares. And I'm sorry, I'm going to send a thing to Zoom and say, hey, like this has been happening now for a while, because it never used to. So this is fairly new in the last, I think 3 months that this is happening. So Katrina says the spray ink is genius. I love that you'd used the confetti acetate from Amy Tangerine, Christina, because when I saw that product, I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. Like it's like that clear acetate, but it actually has like little iridescent bits of confetti kind of in that. Like it just looks really, really neat. It was just a fun product to see where we hadn't seen anything. Oh, and I should mention, I actually got to meet, I'm going to unmute you here so that if you have something to say, you can. I actually got to meet Christina at Creativation. So she's walking along.
Yes!
And I didn't recognize you from your photo when you said, I'm like, I know you. It was super fun. You know,
It's the voice. It's always the voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I'd seen a gazillion of your comments, and I followed you on social media and seen your videos. But yeah, it's just so funny that we got to see each other, and we were actually already making plans to meet up at next year's event. So hopefully that will still be a go. I thought other like really fun ideas like from the video that are super useful. Like I love that you were explaining the layering of the elements, and I know that that's something that we can do. It's like an easy way to get some good impact on the pages. So I thought that was really good, like how you were explaining, like these ones are going down on the flat bottom layer, these ones are going to pop up above the photo's a little bit popped up, and how that kind of creates that little bit of dimension on the layout. And you had used like craft foam or fun foam or whatever behind your photos, right? Do you have like a place where you get that, or is it like Michael's or something to back your photos just to give them?
I totally buy mine at Walmart.
There you go, just at Walmart. So now everybody knows.
Walmart.
But the great thing about covering like pretty much the whole photo behind there is that, if you're using strips of foam, like, which is actually what I tend to do, sometimes you can get, as over time, when your photos are in that album, you can get a little bit of weight on it and you can actually see slight indents and stuff on your photos. Whereas if you have that full backing like that across most of the photo, you're not going to get those kind of problems. And I know even with the layering of embellishments, like we've seen some of our digigals that are doing their layering, they add different layers of shadow to create that depth that you get, so that they have like their flat like surface layer of embellishments, and then they use different layers of shadow to create the effect of getting that layering too. So it's not just something like, when we learn techniques like that, it's not just it's not just a paper scrapbooker thing. Like, we can all find ways to kind of make that work so that we can get those effects. What I actually thought was really interesting about your layout was how the weight of the layout was more at the top of the page, and the bottom was more like with the negative space and the really light and coloring. And I think in my head, I probably have a mental block against stuff like that, where I think the light on top and the dark kind of grounding the layout, and the page looks phenomenal. So I'm like, oh, it's like breaking all the rules that I have like stuck in my head. And I just wanted to maybe see, like, does anybody else here have any of those like conscious or unconscious rules that you're following in your scrapbook pages, that when you actually, whether you're following it on purpose or not, sometimes it's hard to kind of bust out of that. Do you have any examples first, Christina, where you're like, I had such a hard time trying this, or something like that? Just thought I should ask.
I tend to get really stuck in the whole, like, every embellishment cluster and everything has to be in sets of 3s. And that is just, it's a design principle, and everybody kind of goes along with the rule of 3s, or you have to have 3, or you have to have. And so I have watched a lot of Shamel videos, and she has really encouraged me to break out of that, and that it's okay to sometimes have like 3 things in 2 of your clusters and then put 4 in the other one, just to make it stand out differently. And so that has been a really big challenge that I have been working on overcoming, that everything doesn't have to be equal, that sometimes the wonkiness of it makes it unique. And so that has been one for me that I have worked on.
That's cool. And Katrina is in here, and she said that I even do that with clothes. I put the light on the top and the dark on the bottom, and she uses visual triangles. She says, I think I always need to do it. And I know, like, with some of the pages I'm making, like, sometimes I don't want that third little cluster. I just want one here and I want one here. And I think, like, a third one doesn't fit somewhere. It just doesn't go. So where would I try to squeeze it in? Or, am I like, how strongly? It's funny how once we've learned those principles and we've seen how well they work, right? That's the thing, is that they work 95% of the time. But now that we know the rules, we know them enough to kind of like break them and be like, ooh, I'm a rebel. So I kind of love that. And
Absolutely.
It was just something I had noticed with the layout, because you have like the blue paper and the weight is kind of near the top with the big white space in the bottom. But I really liked how you brought that, like, you use the lines, like the marker lines, to kind of close it off, so it still felt like this is part of all the same page and it wasn't kind of getting lost or something. So that was really cool. Let's see. I used a little bit of notes. I had to ask which island of Hawaii you were at. because I was wondering if I had been and swam in that same waterfall.
That one was on Oahu.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
on the North
probably
Shore.
up at the North Shore at the like Wailea Falls or whatever. Cool. Been there. Awesome. I was like,
Mhm.
I bet you I've been there.
Yep.
I have to ask, did the water smell horrible? Because when we went, the water smelled horrible. I'm like,
No, it didn't smell horrible.
yeah, okay, yeah, because when we were
It
in there,
didn't smell horrible, but it was so freezing cold.
that's hilarious because yeah, no, it smelled really bad. I don't know if it was like a runoff time or whatever, if they just been having some rain and they had extra runoff, but the waterfall was like, yeah, I swam in a waterfall. Where do we disinfect ourselves now? Like we were just like, doesn't maybe not the greatest. Super funny. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. Any other comments from anybody that observations or whatever that they wanted to give? Um, Okay, well, I do have one more video. I think we have time to watch that and chat about it. And then before we go, I am going to reveal our t-shirt design for our reunion. So we have an extra little bonus. Not only do we have our reunion guest instructor, but Hannah has been working diligently on our design for our t-shirts. And she's so good. Oh my gosh, guys. Like, she shows me these things. She's like, how about this? And I'm like, I literally sent her a message and says, can we use this on the design? And like 2 minutes later, so she must have already had the same idea because she sent me this thing. And I'm like, seriously, that's amazing. Yeah, so good. So, yes, it's totally a happy morning, Heather. Okay, so I have one more video of Christina's, and this one is from like last week or the week before. And this one, I liked some of the design and some of the stuff. It actually is one that features more sequins. It was one for her Spiegel Mom Scraps design, a design challenge, I think. So I think we'll watch this one. It's about 7 minutes, so we'll have a few minutes to pop in and I'll do our reveal so we still have time. So we'll do that right now. I'm going to put you on mute here and share the screen.
Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with my very first layout using my June Kill a Kit with Style. And so this is a collaboration that was started by Sarah Scraps, and she has put together a bunch of YouTubers who have made some homemade kits where we are trying to go ahead and do some stash bashing throughout the summer. And so I did put a link down below if you want to check out my June kit. There's also a playlist for all of my Kill a Kit with Style videos, so you can also click over on that. And so this is the first layout that I'm creating with what I put together for June. And so I have taken this cut file and I have backed it with some black cardstock, and then I'm using that Good Vibes paper, and that's the one that has the black and white kind of vines and flowers on one side and then the pink dots on the other side. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab my 6x6 paper pads, and you see that these are already well loved, so I've been kind of playing with these 6x6 paper pads. That's why they made it into this Kill a Kit with Style stash video, because they are things that I have played with before. And so one of them is the Everyday paper pad, and then one of them is an Amy Tangerine, one of her older collections. And so I'm going through and just pulling out pattern papers that I know I might want to use. And so I'm going to pull out way more than I end up actually using, but I'm just pulling out colors that kind of go together. So I'm looking for the like a bright fuchsia and a light pink and kind of a minty green color, and I'm just seeing what I have that will work. And then I'm going to go ahead and start backing my cut file. So I'm going to put some adhesive around the sections and then cut my little scraps of paper to fit each little section. So I'm not really doing the whole trace and cut thing. I'm just kind of cutting and making it work as I go. And so I went ahead off screen and filled in all of the spaces that I wanted to have filled in, and I've left a bunch blank. And so what I'm going to do is take my white gel pen and I'm going to trace around the sections that I have left blank. And that's because I want to fill these particular sections with sequins. And so I am looking at where my photo is going to be placed, and I left the ones empty that were like behind my photo because I don't want to add the depth behind the photo and add that extra lift when you're not going to be able to see those areas anyway. So then what I'm going to do is go ahead and just apply adhesive to each one of those sections and then painstakingly sit and put sequins into the entire thing. And so I did not make you watch that entire process, but I have filled 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those little spaces with sequins. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a photo and put it on some fun foam and add it in the space where I want that to go. And I am going to put it on a little bit of an angle because I am going to have a little bit of an angle throughout this entire layout. So I went ahead and adhered that entire thing to my black cardstock, and then I'm going to go ahead and also adhere it to this pink background. And I'm going to put this at a little bit of an angle as well, just to kind of create some interest and some lines so that not everything is just face on. Okay, and so then I'm going to start working on the embellishing part. And so I know I want my title to be Mosaic Fun. And the reason I kind of went with a background like this was because my daughter in the picture, we were at the art museum doing some art in the park, and they were making these like stained glass mosaic pieces of artwork. And you can see that in the picture when it's a little bit closer up. And so I'm going to add this Calberteschi alphabet, and this was also from my kit. And I'm just going to spell out the words Mosaic Art, and I'm kind of going to overlap it over the top corner of that photo. And I have put a little bit of a piece of doily behind that corner just to kind of help that embellishment cluster that's going to be over there, as well as the title, kind of have a little place to live. And so that's going to be in that top corner. And then I'm also going to have an embellishment cluster over on the right side of the photo. And so I'm just going through and I'm going to pull out a bunch of the embellishments and things that I have in my kit. So I'm not going back to my stash unless I have to have something, like I needed that doily. But for the most part, I'm really trying to work within my kit because it's quick and it's easy and it's things that I know that I wanted to get out of my stash and onto pages. So I'm really kind of making an effort not to run back to my stash and spend hours looking for things. So I have this all put into that IKEA organizer that you saw in the initial video. And so I have that sitting right by my desk, and that's what I'm pulling from. So I'm not going back and forth looking for other things. So I went ahead and found 2 of those circle puffy stickers, and that was one of those sheets that I just picked up at Target. And one of them says do your thing, and one of them says you are beautiful. And so now I'm flipping through some of the ephemera that I've pulled out for this particular stash kit. And I know in this kit there's a little flower, so I'm looking, or no, not a little flower, a little heart. A heart, Christina, a heart. There it is. So I'm looking for that because I want to add it to my embellishment cluster with that little pink heart. And then I also have that little black and white vine over on the right-hand side. And I tried really hard to get these Amy Tangerine bows into this layout. I only have just a couple left, so I am determined they're going to get used during this month, but they don't make it onto this layout. Then I went ahead and grabbed these puffy stickers from Momenta, and these have a bunch of different little puffy stickers, and so they have a lot of the really small size that I am needing. So I'm going to go ahead and add those into my embellishment clusters as well. And I did want to tell you, for all of the sequin work in the background, just putting the adhesive on the paper and then sticking the individual sequins onto that seemed to be the thing that kind of worked the best for me. It created a uniform look, and everything I feel like is secured down really well. The 3 sequin packs that I used for this particular project you can find down in the comments below, but they are also Rose Wine Explosion, Jaded Hearts, and Wild and Free. And I just pulled out the individual colors because I did each section a single color. And so I kind of pulled the individual colors that I needed from each one of those kits. And then I'm going to go back to the mixes and grab a few more sequins to add into my clusters, just sitting on top of my layout. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Zotz Bling adhesive for those, which is a really great adhesive that makes those sequins stay really firmly. And I haven't had any issues with them coming off since I started using it. And so I'm pulling a dark pink, a light pink, and one of the turquoise colors. And so those are all from that Wild and Free sequin mix. And that's basically going to finish this layout up. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my first layout with my June Kit, as well as seeing how I am using sequins to fill in a cut file. Do make sure you buy and check out Spiegel Mom Scraps. There is a discount code that you can use at the end for any of the amazing sequin mixes that you want to pick up, as well as those oversized doilies that are super fun. And I will see you guys again soon.
Okay. Oh, let's close that. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think that should be good. So what do you guys think? I thought that that was so cool. I don't actually use cut files right now because I've been like lazy and learning how to do some techie stuff. But my big goal this fall is I'm going to grab myself a Brother Scan and Cut because I really wanted to get one of those. I'm pretty sure that's the machine I want. And I'm going to do some stuff with that, and I'm hoping that I can do some cut files with that. I'm pretty sure I can. With this video, I really liked seeing how you were filling the spaces, right? Like where you're just adding the adhesive, you've got this little piece and you kind of fill it in and then you kind of trimmed the bits. That was kind of good to see because sometimes the idea of tracing and cutting all the pieces out kind of sounds torturous and tedious. So it was nice to see that there are other ways of attacking that. I don't know what everybody else thought, but sometimes I look at those pages where everybody's filled in the backing and I'm like, oh boy, that'd be perfect for like digital gals, right? They're going to be like, I'll paste in this one here and this one here and this one here. And it's just like click, 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 and it's all filled in. No like persnickety kind of cutting around things. And I always love that. I thought, I had a question. What kind of adhesive were you doing when you were filling in the spaces? Because you said that you used your adhesive, but I didn't actually hear, maybe you said, but maybe I just wasn't listening, but I didn't hear what kind of adhesive you were using in the actual cut file spaces that you were using.
I just use my dot runner, honestly.
Okay.
Nothing fancy.
And I think that works pretty good with like the flat sequins. Have you had success with the ones that are like a little bit textured? Because some of them are like the textured ones. What I've found is sometimes with my dot runner, the ones that have texture, you know, they'll kind of tip a little bit as something touches against them. And I've had a few fall off. The flat ones I think work super, super well, but the textured ones, yeah, no, I was just super curious. Yeah, the angles that you did, like when you first put that cut file on and then you kind of like angled it on that pink background, I was like, oh no. And then and you done the same with the photo, and once it all went together, I'm like, oh, it's like totally perfect. But like I had this like momentary like panic, and I was just wondering how our you know, girls that prefer like things to be on the straight and lined up, how they interpreted that. And I think that's the great thing. Like there is, you can watch somebody do that and you can be like, well, I would do it different, but you can see why that worked, right? You can kind of see like, if you had only done the background, it would just look like you put it on crooked, but because you had the photo offset too, like it made it look like very intentional, and it added that mosaic kind of flair to it, which I thought that was awesome. And I thought that another thing that people might have noticed is how good the color scheme that you used was, how not just the colors themselves, but having the white and having that black, because the black really helped make things pop. And I thought that was another really great trick for making that layout really stand out. It makes it very eye-catching. And I think sometimes we look at our layout and it's like, it's so close to being good, but it's just one of those tricks, like having that bit of white, having that bit of black, and that just kind of makes everything look super good. And I have to say, you make embellishment, adding embellishments look super easy. So congratulations, because I find that a struggle. Okay. does anybody have any other comments? Did I miss any comments here on the side? I think I'm good. I'm really looking forward to the 2 classes that you're going to be teaching at Reunion. And I think we had a couple gals that might have missed that. Do you want to give us a quick run through of what those were again and kind of the theme of that? And then I will do our reveal of our t-shirt design.
Sure. I am super, super, super excited. So we're going to do 2 different classes. One of them is going to have a mixed media focus. So some quick and some things. And then the second one is going to be based on inspiration. So how you go out into social media and the world and find inspiration and then interpret that into your project. So things like nature, fashion, Pinterest, things you see on Instagram, sketches. How do we look at all of that inspiration that's coming at us and then translate it into our projects? And that'll be the second one.
Yay, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being with us today, Christina. And a bunch of us will be lucky enough to do the classes and spend our weekend with you in Denver very, very soon. And I think it is time now for our big reveal of our Reunion logo that is designed by our very own Hannah Wilde. And we are going to have this lovely mountain range on our shirts, Memories in the Mountains, and these will be printed on the front of our shirts. And we had discussed earlier on this year that we were going to do some purple shirts, with purple being the color of the year. So we're going to have purple shirts with our Memories in the Mountains logo. Thank you so much to Hannah for designing them. Yes, Heather says yes. Karen says, woohoo, I love purple. I know, we had a lot of really good feedback on that. So I'm going to have a post that goes up momentarily in the Reunion group, and I am going to need your t-shirt sizes posted there. So, and if you don't want to post it, that's totally cool. Just send it to me, send it as a message, and I will get that. I'll need everybody's t-shirt sizes by Thursday. Please get them to me by Thursday. So that is it for today, gals. Thank you so much to Christina for joining us as our guest. We love watching your videos. We're looking forward to the inspiration that we have coming up at Reunion. And there's so many exciting things happening. Let me have a look quickly. Calendar. Our next event is going to be my plan session. That's going to be on July the 3rd at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I will have our July calendar out right away because we do not have time to wait for that. There's going to be so many things happening, and we've got to fit them in a little earlier in the month of July. So that's coming out right away. So watch for that really soon, and I will have the email out as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at our next event or in person in Denver. So excited. Okay, talk to y'all later, and happy scrapping, guys. Bye.